Attorney General Eric Holder is in the hot seat again regarding the Fast and Furious scandal, in which American guns were deliberately allowed to fall into the hands of Mexican drug cartel killers. Holder was grilled by several Republican members of the House Judiciary Committee, including South Carolina Representative Trey Gowdy. We're pleased to welcome him to Newsmax.
Thank you for having me.
Committee Chairman Darrell Issa threatens to hold Holder in contempt of Congress for failing to provide all but 6,400 of the 93,000 pages of documents investigators want to see. Should Holder be held in contempt?
Well, I think it's clear that the Attorney General treats our branch of government differently than he does his own, and certainly differently than he would the judicial branch. Can you imagine if a judge asked him to turn over documents? Do you really think he would give him about 1/10 of what he had? For whatever reason, he doesn't view congressional oversight to be as constitutionally significant as he does the Inspector General's office. I can promise him this. I know Chairman Issa pretty well. He doesn't say things for effect. If he doesn't produce the documents or a valid legal explanation why he's not going to do it, then he will face contempt of Congress.
Holder claims the Justice Department has tried to comply with the committee's request for information. What do you say to that?
Well, I think once you get beyond maybe the age of 12 or 13, we don't give awards for effort anymore. We give it for results. And the fact that he may claim he's tried to do it, we don't have a single email from him. Imagine that. Imagine how many times you send an email in a day or receive an email. We have 0 emails to or from Eric Holder. We have no information after February 4th. It's as if February 4th is his arbitrary cutoff date. That's not our cutoff date, and we're going to get the documents. We can do it the easy way or we can do it the hard way. It's up to him, but we're going to get the documents.
During the hearing, Holder suggested more than once that you Republicans may be politically motivated in this investigation. How do you respond to that?
Well, I was a prosecutor for 16 years. It's the best job I've ever had, and I hope at the end of my career people to have remembered me as a prosecutor, not as a congressman. It has nothing to do with politics with me. It has to do with the top law enforcement official in this country and the Department of Justice and what they knew and when they knew it about the death of a Border Patrol agent and a botched, ill-conceived, ill-fated investigation that was never going to work, that's resulted in the deaths of hundreds of innocent Mexican citizens and will continue to have consequences for years on end. So if he wants to say that's a political exercise, he can say what he wants. He knows it's not true. The questions that I asked him today, no one can say claim are not legitimate questions.
All right, Representative, from what you've seen so far, do you think the Department of Justice had advanced knowledge of the gun running during which U.S. Border Patrol agent Brian Terry was murdered?
No, I don't suspect it. I know it. And we proved it today using emails from the Department of Justice, memos from the Department of Justice. I laid out in my 5 minutes. I proved to him, as I said I would, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Main Justice in Washington knew about gun walking before it took place, before Border Patrol agent Brian Terry's murder. Several people in Main Justice, I can't prove that Eric Holder knew it, but I can prove that people under him, including the criminal chief, Lanny Brewer, knew about gun walking. One of the most poignant moments today in the hearing was, I want you to keep in mind, February 4th is when the Department of Justice sent a letter to Senator Chuck Grassley denying gun walking. All right, that's February 4th. At the exact same time, Lanny Brewer was in Mexico advocating on behalf of gun walking. You can't have it both ways. So it's not that I suspect they knew about it. I know that they knew about it.
How close is the committee to finding out who actually approved Fast and Furious?
Well, we're making progress. We're not going to be able to answer that question definitively until the Attorney General decides to turn over all of the documents to us. And I may not live long enough to see the Inspector General's report concluded. She's been going at it for over a year now. There have been continents that have shifted in less time than it's taken her to ask some pretty simple questions. But ultimately, somewhere in a document or a series of documents, we will find the answer to that question. But as long as he stonewalls us and refuses to produce documents, I'm not going to be able to give you a specific date.
Holder has not fired anybody over the deadly scandal. Do you find that odd?
Not only has he not fired them, he hasn't even put a letter of reprimand in anyone's file. You have a dead Border Patrol agent, you have hundreds of dead Mexican citizens. You have more than 1,000 weapons that are somewhere in Mexico or the United States. No one's been demoted. No one's had a letter of reprimand. No one's been fired. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Leaders take responsibility for what the people under them do. So the Attorney General himself needs to tender his resignation. I've lost confidence in his ability to manage and run an agency that means a lot to me. The Department of Justice is very important to me. If he's not going to do that and get rid of himself, he needs to at least get rid of Lanny Brewer, whose fingerprints are all over this.
So you think Holder should resign?
I've said it. The Department of Justice is not the Department of Politics, it's not the Department of Obstruction and Obfuscation, it's the Department of Justice. And I view it very differently than political hacks like Secretary Sebelius or others. That's politics, I get that. The Department of Justice really ought to be above and beyond raw gutter politics. And to the extent that I don't have confidence in his ability to lead, manage, accept responsibility, provide answers, give an accounting or hold people accountable for what's happened, I think he ought to do the honorable thing and go back into private practice.
And finally, Democrats on the committee are quick to point out that there was a previous gun walking operation under the Bush administration called Wide Receiver. Is there a difference between that and Fast and Furious?
Yes, there are. I want to make 2 points on that. Wide Receiver was a surveillance operation. The guns left the federally licensed firearms dealer. There was surveillance to the Mexican border. And then the surveillance was turned over to the Mexican authorities. I happen to think that's a very poor investigative technique, but it's very different than letting the guns leave the firearms dealer in Phoenix and nobody watch it, nobody know where they're going. The second point I would make is this. I think we were, maybe 8, 9, 10 years old at the oldest when we quit using the excuse, oh yeah, but they're doing it too. The fact that somebody else did something that's wrong does not mitigate or exonerate or excuse the fact that you did it. So if the best they can come up with is we messed up, but the other guys messed up too, that's not much of a defense.
South Carolina Representative Trey Gowdy, thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.